Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Cover 2 podcast. I am Nick Nenad, and I will be by myself today for this version of the Cover 2 podcast. Unfortunately, Jared and I couldn't do our usual or our annual NFL preview and prediction show that we usually broadcast for like 2.5 hours. We're too busy getting ready for our respective big-time events that we're going to be attending this week. That involve NFL teams. And what I mean by that is that Jared Smith will be at Rams and Bills in Los Angeles at SoFi Stadium. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Jared Smith will be attending the first NFL game of the season. I will then be traveling Sunday to the great state of Arizona to go watch my Arizona Cardinals take on the Kansas City Chiefs live and in person. Plenty of videos, plenty of content, live content. I may go after Jackson Mahomes. I may go after Juju Smith-Schuster, and I may even go after Kyler Murray, okay? On this show, okay, I'm going to go over every single division in the NFL. But I'm going to do it in like 5 or less minutes, okay? I'm not going to bore you with your time. So, you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, guys. It's football. It's football, okay? Football's back. I'm excited. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are at our final division, and that is the AFC East. Very interesting division, so I'm glad I saved this for the last. I saved the best for last, realistically. Okay, the Buffalo Bills. Let me just say this. I think they're going to the Super Bowl this year, okay? I honestly think that if the Buffalo Bills would have won the coin toss against the Kansas City Chiefs, I honestly think the Buffalo Bills are your 2022 Super Bowl champions last year. I think they're able to do enough to beat the Los Angeles Rams. Just saying. And I feel like this is the Bills' year. It's been building for a few years with Josh Allen. I think finally this team is going to get there. Now, do I think they'll win it? It's hard. It's one game. It's hard to say, okay? And there are, you know, some teams in the NFC that could beat a team like this. Okay. You know, again, best quarterback in the NFL, in my opinion, right now. I think he's better than Patrick Mahomes. I think he's better than Tom Brady. He's better than all the others. And when you have the best quarterback in the NFL, I think you have a chance to make the Super Bowl. Okay? Defense is a little bit worse. Or you could say it's a little bit better. Middle of the road. Offensive line, a little bit worse. Middle of the road. But again, such a good quarterback. Stephon Diggs, right? I just think it's the Bills' year. So they're going to win this division. Okay? Easy schedule, too, realistically. Then you look at the Miami Dolphins. I think they end up in second place. Holy shit, has the Tua hype been crazy this offseason. But with all the hype teams, Denver, Philadelphia, and then you look at Miami, Tua, like, besides injuries, he's still a very talented player, and now they've added crazy weapons. He now has Jalen Waddle. He has Tyreek Hill. His running backs are Raheem Mostert and Chase Edmonds. A solid offensive line. The defense is great. You know, they play in a climate that can kind of affect teams later in the season and just generally affect teams all season, right? I think this team is a playoff team. Now, are they going to have to come up with some big wins and maybe even beat Buffalo once this year? I do think so. Super interesting team. And even if they make the playoffs, I think they might be able to win a game, right? You know, you get the proper matchup. I think that, like, even some of the division winners this year, when you're playing Denver or Las Vegas or the Chiefs or maybe even the Chargers, like, even as a home team, like, it's going to be tough. So I think that, like, if, let's say, Miami, who I think honestly will end up with, like, the 6th or 7th seed at best, if they end up playing, like, you know, the Colts or something like that in the playoffs, like, they'll win a game. So this is a very interesting team. They're not going to beat Buffalo for the division, but I do think this is a very, very fun team to watch. They'll go as Tua goes, and I think as long as Tua stays healthy, this team is very good, and it'd be hard for them to miss the playoffs. Easy schedule again. Now, excuse me. Now we look at the bottom half of the AFC East, okay? Start with the Jets. Unfortunately, Zach Wilson's not healthy to start the season. Will he play? Yes. But Joe Flacco's going to start the season. Guys, this team's still rebuilding. They're not very good. This team will end up in last place in this division, okay? They still need more talent. Is Zach Wilson the answer? I don't know. I guess I'll say this. If Zach Wilson makes a giant step and is able to get this team close to 500, I think that's awesome. And again, it's a little bit like the Jaguars. Like, there's a chance for this team. I like Robert Saleh in 2023, 2024, but this year, it's not going to happen. And for the Jaguars, they have the better quarterback, they have the better coaching staff, so I do think it's when you look at like the Jaguars and Jets, I think the Jaguars will end up with a better record. But if Zach Wilson does take that next step, I do think this team potentially could be pretty good, maybe make the playoffs in 23 or 24. But this year, absolutely not. And then you look at the New England Patriots. And this has been my most controversial take all offseason. And that is that Bill Belichick has been overrated his entire career. Okay? Look at what has happened since he left Tom Brady. Okay? Yes, did they pull off a pretty good streak of wins, and did they pull off a win in Buffalo last year? Yes. But that game in Buffalo was bullshit. It was minus 16. There was barely any passing, okay? It wasn't real. This team made the playoffs, and they didn't score a single point. And guess what? They didn't even... The Buffalo Bills scored on every drive against one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL, Bill Belichick. How can we say he's the best coach of all time? That happened to Phil Jackson? No. That happened to Joe Torre? No. Come on, guys. Bill Belichick's overrated. Max Jones sucks. This roster on offense is bad. Bad as fuck. On defense, average at best. Like I said, if Zach Wilson becomes this great quarterback this year, I think the Patriots might fall last place in the AFC East. And I think this team, honestly, should be looking for a top 5 finish in the draft and should be looking as their next quarterback. The Patriots have no chance at the playoffs. They suck. Mac Jones sucks. Bill Belichick's overrated. And I think this team is bottom of the barrel in the AFC and in the AFC East. And that's how I finished my football podcast, my NFL preview. I hope you guys liked it. Again, this Thursday, tomorrow, Jared Smith will be at Rams and Bills at SoFi Stadium covering the game. I don't know how much he's going to be able to cover. There's a lot of drinks involved. He's sitting in an awesome spot. He's going with his girlfriend. I don't know how it's going to work, but nonetheless, we'll be covering the game. Whether it's me on the sticks with the controller, with my remote, with my computer, with my phone, tweeting, we'll be covering the game. But Jared Smith will be there, and we'll have some content from that game. Then on Sunday, again, guys, I will be in Arizona at State Farm Stadium to see the Arizona Cardinals pull off the upset against the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, okay? I will be there. Now, I am definitely going to be providing some crazy content. I have some ideas about bets. I have some ideas about signage. And I'll, of course, record some of the biggest moments of the game if it's possible, if my seats are good enough, okay? For this podcast, we're done. We're going to see content all week. Start following the Cover 2 podcast. This is the place to be. We give the most authentic takes. We take our licks when we are wrong, and we should be listened to when we're right, okay? But guess what, guys? Football season's back, and I could not be happier. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit the Cover 2 podcast up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram. Stay tuned for more social media. For this podcast, it's over. I'm Nick Nenad. Peace, y'all.